Okay, should be able to hear me now. I'm not sure about Myrrors. Think he may be muted somewhere. But while we get this sorted out, we have quite a few games for us here. We have 4, we would have 6, a couple of them are bugged, unfortunately. So we are just going to have to skip a couple of them. That's alright though. We have a lot of Valkyrie games, a couple Myrrors. Give me just a second. The issue may be on my end. One of these days we'll be able to get this right. Let's see. Let's see if we can hear you now.
Testing? Hello?
Hey, there he is, alright.
Hey, I'm back. I'm back.
I'm not sure what we did,
Hello,
but
chat.
it's fixed. So, we have some games.
Man.
We have some beautiful, beautiful MYTHGARD games. We have a lot of blue, as I'm sure a lot of you have noticed looking over the
It's time for Blue to shine.
information. Yes, time for blue to shine indeed. So let's hop into the first set of deck lists here. We have Circle in against Zlekrat. I'm not positive how to pronounce that name there, but we are going to start with Circle's Mono Blue Valkyries list. It seems to be a pretty standard version of Mono Blue Valks, but as opposed to the typical Junkyard Valhalla, he is running a single copy of the Odin Throne. But other than that, it's looking fairly standard. What do you think, Mears?
Yeah, keeping in mind that Magnus is banned in this tournament, decided to opt in with the second Thunderclap. Usually I do one Thunderclap, one Magnus, but because Magnus is banned, putting in the second fixes majority of the AoE wantings that the deck wants. Very looking at this deck compared to the other ones that we'll be looking at later. Consistency is key here. We see the 4 Toughs, we see the 4 Carnhenges, we see the 4 Scouts. Everything is on a very good foundation. Looking at the curve here, consistency, everything is a pretty flat curve. So he has the 3 Trolls, he has 2 Sea Havens. He wants to be able to put out his plan basically every single time he gets the cards. We even see 2 Enforcers here, so very, very consistent.
Yeah, you see pretty much full copies of each. Everything you want to see, you're going to see with the full suites of all of the Valkyries, except for the Enforcer, because that's not particularly important. Give me just a second while I fix the cam issue. But you're not really going to want 4 Enforcers clogging up your hand. You're going to want to only have them when you need them. So having 2 of those as opposed to the full 4 is going to help in that regard.
Oh, I meant some people run 1. That's what I
Yeah.
meant by the consistency thing. So
Oh, yeah.
having the 2 is just what you need. Yep.
That's right. So let's go ahead and hop over to a second list here. Give me just a second while I pull it up. see. So we have Zlikrit's that list right here. I'm not sure why my camera isn't showing up here, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and just focus fully on the list here. So we have pretty similar stuff. It looks like he is opting for the Black Hatter to kind of blow some games out. And then we have an
Mm-hmm.
interesting top end point here with the Volcanic Rissy to kind of give you that
Yeah.
extra bit of oomph if that Thunderclap, Allfather's Horn, God's Blood transfusions aren't going to get the job done.
Yeah. That one, that pick, I don't really like it. You're putting yourself at 7 now. It's just it
Yeah.
doesn't really mesh well. Also something we now notice is that there was a lacking of Horn in Circle's deck, right? So like now that we see Horn coming back into play, one Thunderclap here opted to just not bother to replace the Magnus utility. Um, we see his deck just spread out here like a prism. We see one Sea Haven for combat tricks like God's Blood and Black Hatter that you had put up. We even see only 3 Frecky Scouts here and 2 Thanes. It's just he's spreading out his deck for more combat tricks, and it might work for or against him, especially that Reezy. It's just I don't know if you'd ever get to play it in a Valk's mirror, right? So
Yeah, it's really tough. A lot of the reason people weren't playing Ingrid before the buff was because it's so hard to get to 7 on Valks, especially
mm-hmm,
since you notice he's only running 12 enchantments, so that Rainbow's
mm-hmm.
End isn't going to trigger nearly as often, so you're not going to be able to get those cards in hand to burn.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
exactly.
as you can see, it worked out well enough if it got him to the semifinals, so let's go ahead and pop open the very first replay here. This tournament system is a great addition to MYTHGARD.
Definitely. I'm still blown away. Like, even though it's the beginning, like it's gone through the found like the some of the polishing. There's just things that they need to iron out, but once they do, it's going to be a fantastic feature.
That's right. And it's already serving us well. Here we have some great content. So, opening hands, it looks like Circle, that those 4 scouts are going to pay off. He does start with the 1 drop in hand, and then Zlake over there is going to have to wait till turn 2, so that's already going to put him behind in the mirror.
Exactly. Zlekrat is on the draw, but with that, he did not pull anything that he can play, even with the coin in use, because the Tufts do require 2 gems.
That's right. So that triple scout double Thane, it's not going to work out for him quite as well in this matchup. Circle did pull
Rainbow off
2
the
of
top.
the scouts, so he was able to burn 1, so he wasn't burning anything that he was really looking to play in the next few turns. But it does look like he does top deck that Thane to kind of pull him out of that predicament that he was in.
That is the top deck gods working for you, and a rainbow on top of that. He's looking good on cards.
Yeah, the double rainbow trigger for both of them starting to pay off. I like the use of the Demolition Speedway to take out that Thane. You're not going to get too much use out of that Frecky Scout with the Thane blocking it, so that's a good way to clear it off really quick.
Exactly. They're both running Impel, so they don't get to use the Infuse on that. So
Right.
definitely making that quick trade will be good for them.
Yeah, one of the other lines you could have run was just hopping it over, setting up for the Road Queen turn 3, which it looks like they're just going to go ahead and throw down anyways.
Mm-hmm. They I don't play Valk's mirrors, so I can't say what would be the best play, but like they're just going at it head to head right now. It's just 2 gangs going at it. Now we see the God's Blood coming out. And that's why you would add 2, right? Like for these situations, you have a 6/6 regen 2 at this point.
Yeah, but it's hard punished by the bounce. But they have the combo in hand again, if they can make that pay off again.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and drop the Braggy, start cycling your hand.
was away. What did he pick? I missed it.
Let's see. Oh, it doesn't tell you what they picked. So they're going to drop down the lone sidecar, rushing the tough right into their face, starting that beat down.
Getting that face damage in now.
Yeah, but as you can see, it's may not end up paying off because they're running pretty low on cards, and Zlakerat, on the other hand, has 8 cards in hand right now with some additional draw value from cycling with the Braggy.
Yep, and he threw away his Stairway, burned away an enchantment. He is looking very good on cards right now. It's gonna be a tough time though, because he couldn't get rid of that bike. He couldn't get rid of the bike, so
yeah, the sidecar may end up being a punish right next to that Demolition Speedway. The Braggy does live to see another turn, so we may be able to see if that Frenzy can pay off. But it looks like they're just going to be utilizing that sidecar a lot better than Zlakerat can get rid of it. Yep. And it doesn't look like they're going to have any opportunity to get rid of it anytime soon. Looks like they kind of went all in on that Valkyrie tough and got hard punished by the bounce. It looks like it's not going to quite work out in their favor.
That bounce was key. Just denying him that strong monster was very impactful, considering, like you said, they were trying to go all in on that. Setting up on the right wing there.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get anything past that Magnus, especially now that it has the God's Blood, but it's too little too late. They have lethal on board a million different ways, so it looks like we're going to be going on to round 2.
I know the way.
Very unfortunate draws there, all the stairways.
I do get the hops, but let's see if we get a good top deck. It looks like that is going to get the job done. The Frecky Scout onto the Demo Speedway, taking out the Troll, swinging face for the last bit of damage. So that'll be round 1 going over to Circle. Zlakerat out here, he did show up with a really good block, but it just wasn't enough with that Demolition Speedway.
Yeah, it paired up with the sidecar, just gave it the amount of control that they needed on their turn, just popping down monsters and just taking out any defender to clear the way for the rest of your crew to just start swinging in for face.
It's really tough when you don't have any rush, any damage spells, or really anything to deal with it.
Yeah, it really needed either the Magnus or the Thunderclap, and since he ran only one, he did not get that answer that he needed, or even an Enforcer, maybe, like could have done something for him.
Yeah, they tried to find it cycling with the Braggy. They got that cycle down 5 or 6 times, but it just wasn't showing up. But we are going to go ahead and head into game 2. See if we can pull it back. Alright, so it looks like Circle is now on the coin. They do have the 1-drop in hand, and Zlakerat again without the turn 1 play. Wasn't lucky enough to top deck it this time either.
He had to throw down the enchantment. Hopefully, if he can get a 4/4 tough, that would be a good situation for him. And he does.
He does get the tough. He doesn't have the God's Blood this time. So let's see what's going on with that. And he does do the double hop with the sidecar. They don't have the Road Queen to buff it up next turn, but I still like that play, protecting your bodies on the board.
See you in Valhalla.
Chosen on the Karn, buffed with its powers. We're gonna see how this now lines up.
Pointing out the Kara. There's not going to be any way to get rid of that Kara without playing a minion, except bouncing it with the top decked Valkyrie Enforcer. What a draw.
Things that's the story right now. It's just those cards come right into hand when you need them.
The cards align, and the Thunderclap. to clear off the board,
Just
leaving
cleans it
no
right up.
cards in hand for Zlakerat. That's going to be a tough spot to come back from. Circle's running with nothing but gas.
Yep. Yep.
The sidecar into tough would easily clear that off, but it looks like Circle has other plans.
He's rather developing the Kara right there, and it's gonna be tough to move at this moment. Even with the enchantment, he's not able to clear it.
That
He
is a
does get the God's Blood,
scary
but not the
7-6.
7/6 thing.
Scary 7-6, but the
Too bad
Enforcer punching it right back down.
For 9 damage to face.
And the concession, there's
That's-
no way, that Kara just coming down is very, very deadly for Zlakerat in that position. He used
Yep.
his only Enforcer, so there's not going to really be any way for him to take that down outside of a God's Blood, which he already used half of his copies.
Exactly, and even if like at that point, it was really hard to defend against both a Kara and the Frecky Scout that can impel over. Like, you can move the Scout over one, and then Kara would be an
Right.
8/5 if you swifted it over.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
on top
that
of that,
was-
you're still running
That
Impel,
was gonna be
so
tough.
you could do the Demolition Speedway dance. Oh, I guess that wasn't a Speedway, but
Exactly.
the Enchantment dance with the Frecky Scout. So that was seemingly a pretty easy 2-0 for Circle. So we are going to be moving on to the second semi of today. That's Nelzia versus Tufaka. Nelzia is the lone non-Valkyrie deck on the yellow-purple, and then you have Tufaka on a different version of Valkyries. So we're going to go ahead and hop into not Tufaka's list. We're going to hop into Nelzia's list really quickly and go over some interesting deck choices, to say the least. So,
Yeah,
what do you have to say?
Really, really cool to see. Again, 3 Valks and then 1 purple yellow deck, and it's first off, it's because of the ban list and how one card from each color is banned. He's essentially hitting 2 bans here. So like, even with that in mind, he got this working. So like, that's pretty awesome to see. Whereas like the mono decks sort of have the one up in regards to that. Like, the Valks only had the Magnus hit. Here he couldn't play Thane, and what was the other ban?
Yeah, he actually had double bans because
Racer.
both twins were banned. Both Twin
Yeah.
Blanc and Juna, and then we also had the Racer in Shadows ban, which is going to be very tough against the Valkyries matchup, because that's pretty much your only form of early game removal for both of these colors.
Yep. So like, it's just incredible to see it like go this far in that Valk dominated matchup, essentially. Like, going forward, like, people were expecting to be playing Valks anyway, so like, they made their Valks do mirror matches. So I'm pretty sure Nelzia had that idea as well, that Valks would be a big player as well in this tournament.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you can definitely see
no early
that.
game removal.
Yeah, you can definitely
so-
see that with a couple of his card choices as well. With the balance, that's a very good card against Valkyries. They're often going to swarm the board pretty early, so you'll be able to use that balance to find your Misanthropia a lot faster, which is very deadly for Valkyries. And you also see the Metamorphosis. That'll be one easy way to deal with the Kara coming down.
Kara or any God's Blood combat trick coming down as well. So like, that would be the way to combat it.
Yeah, and you have the Zelia as well, which is pretty good against Valks. It's not the best of the best, but it's easy to protect, that's for sure, especially when the opponent doesn't have the rush suite of red or the spells to counter it.
Exactly, like we saw with the sidecar there, they can't deal with it immediately unless they have their own sidecar or a position on board already in place. Let's talk about quickly the Verdant Jungle there. That's an interesting pick there. Allowing him to basically play any of these 5-cost cards on turn 4, which is pretty big. Like, I've lost to Aaliyah on turn 4 before, just because of how much control it brings.
Yeah, it's a
on the
lot
early.
easier to get your big guys out sooner, so that'll be a quicker Master of Shadows, a quicker Jin Suk, a quicker
Hmm.
Misanthropia if you have the gems. It'll be tough to get the gems on Curve. He's running a little bit light on the yellow. That's slightly heavier on the purple side, so it won't be the easiest to get those gems, but it's not impossible, that's for sure.
Yeah, like you said, this is a very lean yellow. If you look at the ratio, it's like 55 yellow. I know 55 purple to 45 yellow, and these yellow are going to be gem hungry. If you want to land that Misanthropia, you're going to need that 3 gem. Verdant Jungle cannot get you out of that bind. You're still going to have to burn 3 yellow cards. And if you're going to try to play Clay Effigy and a Maze on top of that on your first turn, you're going to need 4 yellow cards out of your starting hand. Um, so it's going to be difficult to balance all of the benefits of the deck on top of all the requirements in there. So it's going to be interesting. On top of like the handicap of no racer, in my opinion, it's going to be a tough fight. Like we have Spirited Away at 2 too, so
Yeah, it's really
it's just
tough. High risk, high reward style deck plan, it looks like. So let's
yeah.
hop back over to, well, not back over, but we'll hop over to Tufaka's Mono Blue Valkyries, or his version. Give me just a second while I pull it up here on my screen to share with you wonderful people. Here we go. Okay, so it's fairly standard as far as lists go. It looks like the Odin Throne is going to be a more popular option as opposed to the Junkyard Valhalla, but Tufaka decided, hey, why not run them
Hmm.
both?
Yeah, very strong enchantment. He does not bring any Sea Haven at all, so he's disregarding the Agile Armor 2 for the Valhalla to bring out more of an ability to extend the game plan if necessary. I see that also in the Rider of Oedipus. Um, you can slap him down on the floor and then just generate more things if necessary to continue the brawl, um, if it extends that far. So it,
Definitely a
I
great
yeah.
matchup against the slower decks. He's still running the full suite of most of the Valkyries except for the Valkyrie Enforcer. They are only opting for
Hmm.
one copy of that, but I think the Odin Throne might make up for it.
Yeah, the Odin Throne is amazing if you can get it. You can get the draws back, and it gets you out of a bind. Definitely, the draw 2 can bring a Valk player from, if you miss that burst, that opportunity to burst them down, you can stay in the game. Um, and
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting.
And on
I
top
see
of that,
3 sidecar.
throwing a Braggy on an Odin Throne is extremely tough to deal with for most decks.
Yeah, it brings that first strike 4 damage. He's gonna be sitting there for a while on top of the warded, so
Right.
very good target to sit on the throne.
Yeah, and as you said, 3 sidecars, so we're definitely going to be seeing some very fast Valkyries, that's for sure.
Yeah, he opted to trade in the sidecar for the troll. Um, I I personally really like troll because I think it's just such a strong card that has such a great uh utility. He's just a god utility card. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
But
it's tough.
noting that he's going, yeah,
I like to see multiple trolls per game. I'm not a huge fan of seeing multiple sidecars per game.
exactly. But I think he had this in mind, knowing how slow Valks could be on their turn. So having the 3 sidecars will let you counter other sidecars or anything that you might need to immediately deal with. Because we did see on the game prior that if you cannot deal with that sidecar immediately, it becomes an issue for you. We also don't see Thunderclap here, so like that's gonna be his go-to plan to get rid of that sidecar,
Yeah,
or
the
if he sees
sidecar to
one.
run something into a sidecar. It's pretty much the only plan in the arsenal here outside of Lucky Odin Throne Stick.
Yep, he'll definitely need something to stick on the board. So
but we'll go ahead and hop into one of these games. If I remember correctly, the very first game is bugged, so we don't have a replay for that. I'm going to double check just in case, but don't hate me, because we may only get to see, oh, the first game is not bugged, so let's hop into it. Alright, so a decent start on the yellow-purple. They have the clay effigy. They also have the verdant jungle to get down ASAP to make sure they can get that ramp out nice and quickly. One drops on the side of Tufaka, but they do have the coin thing, so that'll suffice with the... Well, actually, they don't have a 2-drop outside of the demo speedway.
Get the rainbow there, so the card's gonna be in hand. Yeah, it's probably gonna be the Speedway. Speedway Thane is already dangerous.
Yeah, especially with only the clay effigy to block. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Karen Henge is a great burn. Yep, the Thane on the Speedway. Extremely scary things.
The Speedway just allows for such aggressive plays. That just already equated to 3 damage.
A big thank you to my sponsors.
But we see the jungle paying off, putting down a turn 3 God of Gamer.
Yeah, the jungle paying off, and then you also see the punish from the leaner yellow, because I would have loved to see that Meso Libre come down on that Thane, but that just wasn't an option. We do have the feng shui. The feng shui is great to see with the demo speedway on the board, and that was a great pentacle clearing off the slightly scary chosen.
Chosen, yep. Using the walk shield to reinforce the walk master there, battle chef, just so that it can stick onto the jungle. Faka now realizes that it is a threat. Decides to put the rider right across from it.
Looking good.
Oh, Nelzia getting the life gain down the God of Gamers, clearing off that Thane, gaining about 7 life in the process. That is not too shabby, leaving Tufaka down to 9. With not too much to contest that God of Gamers.
Yeah, there really is nothing. With Impel, he's going to have his way on that side of the board. He's not going to even take retaliatory damage when he attacks something.
Yeah, and when he is attacked, he has the armor buff from the Pentacle of Flavors as well. I like this feng shui to come down to kill that demo speedway, pretty much cutting off any chance for Tufaka to get any damage down onto the side of Nelzia.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see the dragon play, because he was at 6 mana, because he can do Dragon Pearl onto the push in for a lot of damage. I don't know if it would add it up to lethal that Kishiki-san had pushed up, but it would have been an amazing amount of damage just pushing into there.
You can see the rider starting to pay off with the Thane gains here. I'm not too sure about the sidecar placement, but there's not really a safe spot with that Pentacle God of Gamers with all of the blast options.
The deciding to pick off the rider with the blight there, and God of Gamer picking off the sidecar, only gaining 2 life in the grand scheme of things, but still better than nothing.
Not only that, but getting rid of the biggest threat on the board.
Yep.
And the Meso Libre finally comes down. He gets that second yellow gem a couple of turns ago, and he finds the spot to play it.
Hitting that balance.
Ooh, hitting the Metamorphosis off of the balance to take care of that Kara next turn.
protecting that Leah there because the blight is going to reduce the one on the right side down to 1-2.
And the concession from Tufaka. There's not too much that can be done from that position as the aggressor. You're not going to have too many opportunities to come back, especially after you already used both horns. Well, a single horn which uses the other horn, but you know how it goes.
Yep. That was such a play on the just the God Gamer. Just we saw
Yeah.
that accelerated mana come down and just take it away from
Yeah,
there.
really punishing him for
Lifesteal,
the single
tentacle.
enforcer choice as well
Yep.
on the side of
No bounce on
Tufaka.
that. Yep.
Tough to find when you only run one in a 40 card deck. But
Yeah,
so
there was
it looks like the
no way
second
for it to...
game is the one that is bugged, so we're not going to get anything from that. But spoiler alert, Nelzia wins 2-0 over the Valkyrie, showing the power of his highly teched YP.
Yeah, landing down the dragon from there in Jinsuk, just carrying it into basically the late game from what we could see on the small screenshot.
What
So
we could see.
yeah, it's just jungle. That was such a cool play, and I've seen it rarely on ladder. I saw it one game last stream there too. So like having that extra ramp is just the celebration is real. That's all I can say. It's just
It is.
putting down heavy 4-drops on turn 3 is something that you'll need to deal with.
Yeah, it's similar to like a Necro deck in a sense, because you're just getting your big guys out sooner, making the Valks start to answer you, as opposed to you just answering the Valks every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Really turning the tables on them, and Valks aren't very great from behind.
Yeah, they don't have the rush package. They don't have the immediate burst damage from them either. They excel at AoE small pings, but nothing like having a wings deal 4 damage straight up to a monster.
Right. And on top of that, Tufaka was not running the Thunderclap, so there's really nothing outside of combat damage.
Exactly.
But
so it was just banking on the sidecars.
But it looks like we have our finals. It's going to be Circle versus Nelzia, which one of these games are going to be bugged as well. Let's hop in to see. It looks like it is the first one, but as you can see, Circle looks like they won it fairly handily with the Valks. They landed the Metamorphosis, but the Giant Stairway makes that little 1/1 sheep a pretty decent threat.
Yeah, a giant sheep still hurts.
Yeah. The 4/4 sheep still hits for 4. So let's go ahead and hop into game 2. Circle versus Nelzia. This will be game 2 of the finals. Circle has a really strong 1, 2, 3, 4 if you count the coin. Looks like Nelzia is missing his jungle or any 1-drops, but they do have the gems for the on-curve Meso Libre, which is great against Valks.
Yeah, it can stop the aggression, and he's going to need to, because this is a power curve from the Valks right now. We have like just everything.
On top of that, we have the Ingrid poised and ready to go.
Yep.
With a
He's
great
gonna coin out that turn 3 Kara.
Yeah, great Ingrid counter in the Spirit Away. Bring either one less Valk or just straight up get rid of that 4 damage Alpha Strike Ingrid, which is a threat by itself. The Metamorphosis deck is nuts.
Taking care of that Kara, turning it into a sheep. Meso Libre muscling his way past the scout.
Ooh, we get some toughs on the board. 4/4 on the Karen Henge. Looks like the pressure is on for Nelzia to find the Mythanthropia. With the wide board, that balance is looking decent, though. Opting to use the Xayah as a blocker instead of protecting it for the additional effects. Looks like it won't quite pay off, though, and he is under quite a bit of pressure.
That winter came back. It turned that 5 HP Leah into nothing. 2 free damage from the clap and the mutton.
And the second thunderclap coming in handy. You wouldn't have been able to do that with a Magnus.
No, he couldn't. That direct face damage, relevant face damage there.
2
That
damage is good.
That was very quick.
That was Valks. When they are able to hit the curve, it's not a good time for the opponent, especially when they're not able to find their answers as much as they would like to. GG's to all around.
Yeah. GG to Circle A. Congratulations, buddy. That was a very strong showing to show that consistency is key. I like to see that. That was just a very clean match there.
It was a lot of 2-0s on the side of Circle, even looking into the Swiss phase as well.
Yeah, I think that consistency really helps out Valks more so than having a few combat tricks. The combat tricks are essentially the enchantments. You don't need to push too much into your arsenal. What you do need to do is make sure that you can pull that out whenever you need to and not fumble or miss the timing for those plays.
It's really, really tough to come back from a bounced God's Blooded minion, just like it's really tough to come back from a giant guy on a giant stairway. You can bounce the guy, but the stairway is still there. That's for sure.
That was like, I think, my first lesson from the days of red-blue enchantment. It's just everything's a threat now. This thing is a threat. What?
Yeah, it's quite the investment. 5 mana for a single thing. It's usually going to take up your entire turn on Valks or any aggressive deck, but it usually pays off.
Yeah, once you can get that investment in, like you said, it pays off, and you're going to be forcing the opponent to play more quality cards just to deal up with your 2-drops at that point.
Right.
And if you can't make it a clean execution, the Thane will heal again. So it's a tough point to assault if you ever see a Thane on the stairway.
Just Winked having a non-bugged tourney experience, not quite on our end. We did miss a couple of matches, but I'm glad that it wasn't bugged for the contestants. But we are going to be doing the same thing next weekend, next Sunday. We're going to have Nephilim Open number 3. Different bands, not quite sure what they're going to be at this point in time, but I plan on casting. I'm not sure if Myrrors plans on being here with me, but that'd be great. But next weekend, same time, same place. Be here, be square.
Thank you very much for having me on, Cool Cat. It was a very fun opportunity to watch these games with you and to participate in this.
Oh, it's always fun. But see you guys next weekend, and thank you for showing up. I will probably continue on my end in just a bit after I wrap things up, playing probably some MYTHGARD or something else. Not too sure yet, but I will be back shortly. Thanks for showing up.